So, hello, welcome back to a new video. So today we are going to do a drive to a little village called Harmelen, which is kind of also attached to Utrecht. I hope you're going to like the ride. It will be about an hour. And we are going to visit, I would almost say a castle, but that's what it's supposed to be, but you don't see much of it and it also looks more like a home. We're also going to visit, maybe this is part of the story of today, the location of the worst train disaster in the Netherlands. It's quite a nice, not a nice place, but Harmelen is quite a nice place. We're going to take the route next to the water, which is what this place called LeidscheRijn got its name from. It's a water which leads all the way to Harmelen, where we are going. For people who are new here, I'm still sort of using the systems with the subtitles. So in the descriptions you will find almost like chapter links with some that you can jump to different locations of where we are going, and if we stop, what we are seeing. And if you turn transcript on, you will get more information, also the subtitle information. Now, for the subtitles, there's two different subtitles. If you turn them on, one is called Bodo, and that basically tells you in the subtitles where we are, how far we are from the next location we want to go, things like the speed and how high we are compared to sea level, and also the address, so that you can use that in maps.google.com and basically find your way. If that's not precise enough, which happens at times, simply because we are in an outside area and it can't figure out the street address. If you go to the subtitle AFAR, that's even a better version, because that's more nerdy, because that shows you also the satellite position, so that you can give it into Google Maps and track our way there. It also tells you some nerdy information like the compass direction and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed it. The best way to use it, depending a little bit on the platform, if you're using a PC or you're using your iPad or your phone, is to turn transcripts on. And because if you turn that on, it kind of combines the chapter information, which is also part of your timeline, so you can scrub to it. But in this combined transcript in the right side, you see these chapters and the subtitles sort of combined. Now, like always, it's two steps forwards, one step back, but we are slowly getting there. So I worked on the picture quality. I think I was saying the last few that it was kind of gloomy outside, and that's why the picture was a bit dark, which was partly true. But today I did a little bit more work on the color grading, and I think it looks a bit more realistic now. Although I was driving by the end of the day again, because somehow it was already getting next to 4 o'clock, and before you knew it, it was getting later than I expected, and it's by the end of the drive it's getting a little bit dark again. On our left side, and on the helicopter view you see the entrance of the highway, which goes under this part of the city. So we don't see it, and it's going under shopping part basically. So that's the entrance. We talked about it before, but you can see how that's sort of done. It's kind of nice. That means that we don't have a highway in the middle of the city part, but it's basically hidden from us. So, but we are going on our way to the water side, which is in front of us, which is called LeidscheRijn. So this area is also called LeidscheRijn, and that's why it's called this way. And we are following the LeidscheRijn all the way to Harmelen, which is a very nice bicycle path, although maybe a bit boring, but maybe boring is good for this video, I guess. So we're going to ride on both sides of the road today. So we'll skip around a little bit. It's a Saturday again when I'm recording this, and the reason to say that is not because there's less traffic, but you see a little bit different mix. For example, we see more people running, we see more people on, not more people on bicycles, but different people on bicycles, and we see more people on racing bikes, so with helmets and going speedy like they are doing the Tour de France. Maybe we are lucky and we get one here. Now this is actually quite nice because it was an older lady and her husband, I assume. He was on a racing bike and she was on an e-bike, which is again a good combination because then she can keep up with him, which I think is a very nice thing. So we're now going to the other side already, and there we see two other slightly older gentlemen also doing their Saturday ride. And we're already on the road that we were talking about, and next to the water called LeidscheRijn. So the second thing that I worked on is on the audio. So the audio was quite bad, although I tried to fix it, and with the voiceover it matters less. But somewhere in 2024 YouTube will allow us to upload multiple different audios, and by then I want to upload the audio with the voiceover, but also a version which you can just listen to the background noise if you prefer that. That was always my plan, but so far that's not possible. But if you believe YouTube, some content creators can already do it, selected few, but hopefully pretty soon everybody can upload alternative audios, and then I will upload one with my voice over and the other one I will keep pure. But for that my audio should be way better. And yeah, the fun part, I guess, I will put a link to his videos in the description. There's also a YouTuber who's making videos in Rotterdam, and his audio was way better than mine, so that gave me some pause to retry again. I have many microphones and what do we call dead cats, so these are the fluffy thingies that you can put on your microphones, but I still had problem getting it the way that I wanted. So today we are trying it with a wireless transmitter, which I put on the back of my head. I know this sounds weird, but it's on the back of my head because I couldn't find a better place, because I wanted to have it higher up, so that it picks up less noise from my bicycle, and it wirelessly sends it to the camera. And perfect timing. The last new part that I kind of added is a few weeks ago I added a remote control that also has the GPS tracker inside, which I'm not using, but I can see what the camera is doing and if it's still running correctly the way that we want. And I wanted to show you, that's why I put my arm there. But it hints to the one mistake, so that's why I said 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I think the video quality is better, so it's less dark. The audio is better. Already preparing for if we don't have any voiceovers, or we can turn them on and off. But the downside is that I think because I have a new jacket on, or not new jacket but my summer jacket and not my thick winter jacket, that the camera ended up a little bit lower, about 3 or 4 centimeters, and also the angle was a bit off, not the way that I normally do it. And as a result, my hands and sometimes my phone becomes part of the picture. You should see the pop up. So the funny part, maybe you already see it with the upcoming bump here, with the speed bump coming up. You might see it pop in. Let's see if it happens. Of course, this time it didn't. But you will sometimes see it pop up because the camera is a little bit lower, and yeah, that is kind of funny in a way. Of course, next time we will try to fix that one again. But it's always fun. That's why we partly make of these videos, and also talk to some other people who are making these videos, and they agree it's kind of hey, we do it for fun. We don't expect many people to watch, although we of course love that you are watching and commenting. It's not the main. It's one of the shared joys of making these videos, being outside, doing our roundabouts, discovering new areas of the city because we want to show you something new. But also some of the technical parts, trying to figure them out. So of course I'm upset that the camera angle is a bit off and the camera is too low. It's also good motivation to do it better next time. So this is kind of a perfect bicycle path even if it's boring. I know this might sound weird, and I think the houses look lovely, and it's not, and the trees, although of course it's winter time. This would normally be the time where it's the coldest in the Netherlands. So if you are living in the Netherlands or know about it, we have something like the Elfstedentocht, which is 11 cities they go by ice skating. And that's kind of normally around this time. That happens in January, middle of February, kind of. So normally it would be quite cold, but today is quite okay. So that's why I also changed jacket and ended up with this mishap. But this road is kind of boring, but also good in a way, because you see how the city is basically connected to the different villages and slowly evolving and becoming bigger and bigger. And you notice that the way that it happens in the Netherlands, and you can actually purely by luck now see it on the helicopter view. You see a new area being built. It's probably already done by now, because these are mostly old pictures. But you see that slowly they fill in the different parts along waterways, like we are doing now next to LeidscheRijn. And it gives them the option to put these nice red bicycle paths between these different villages and the main city. And so that means that you see a mix of old homes and new homes, of course. But it also is the way that, I think a little bit different than in some other countries like the United States, is that these suburbs are basically continuous, if that makes sense. It's not like one village stops and another village starts, or one city stops and other city starts. It's sort of continuous, slowly going. So this red carpet is going all the way to Harmelen, and what you notice that in the first 4 or 5, the bus is kind of interesting. Sorry to jump again. The bus is the same bus we were seeing in the beginning, and in fact also when we are going to the inner city. I think we did a few trips there. But bus 28 goes extremely far, and this is an example of where it can ring you. So it's a very interesting, the way that's part of the OV works. It's a big bus. It's a 3-part bus, so it has 2 bending points, and it can have quite a few people. So you can see my phone sort of popping in and out of the image, which is, I guess, kind of funny. It also tells you how well both my camera and the bicycle is dampening us. Because if you see how wildly sometimes this my phone is attached to my steering wheel and showing us the route. Because sometimes I want to take a special hidden route, and that's why I have the route planner on there. But you can see sometimes how wildly it pops into the picture. So that gives you an idea how, in a way, totally amazing these action cameras that I'm using, combined with some tricks, I have to admit, how stable the picture can become. This bridge is kind of nice because they made it especially for bicycles, and on our way back I always wanted to use it, but you can see she's coming down, circling this way. But they put it on an angle, and also made the entrance and the exit that you can quickly go on there by bike. Or you can also see it a bit in the helicopter view again. All the people on e-bikes. No comments about helmets, although you will see more helmets today. Of course, because people are on their racing bikes and they will have a helmet. And we also see quite a few people, older people on e-bikes, which decide to put a helmet on. Now, in some of these crossings in this long road, I will stop, and some of them I will continue driving. Depends of if I have to give way for the other traffic, and you can see that what we call high tanden, so shark teeth on the road. That's basically the only thing that personally I look for, and that tells you if either the other direction or you are supposed to yield. You can see again the signs on the street, if you have not seen them before. It tells you that car are guests, and you see the small driveways, and sometimes you see cars popping in and popping out. But again, good timing today. So you see one now sort of popping out while we were being passed. And actually this car later on, if you might not see it or I might forget, but he's actually parking in a home, I think a few minutes from now. So on this side of the road, most likely you will only see cars which are going to one of the homes, or they have to be here for some other reason, because otherwise they would probably take a different route. So interesting combination of people today outside. Of course, these willows, most of them have already been pruned this year, but it's winter time, so in the summer times most of these trees and the willows will of course be much more interesting to see. Even though I do think that yeah, we see quite a lot of nice things today. Again, combination of high speed. This was kind of fun. You see, hopefully you caught it. She was actually looking for books from one of these little book closets that people put outside. You see them in different countries, and we also have them here. And she was looking what books are in there. Yeah, that's one of the major difference on the weekend day and especially on a road like this, which is extremely straight and nice to drive on because of the asphalt. The red asphalt is about 3 centimeters meters thick, and they also make it of a special material, so they're really nice to bike on. And so they are being used on Sundays and Saturdays to speed racers. What we call racefietsen. And of course they are wearing helmets. So when we get to the memorial for the train disaster, I'll talk a little bit about safety. I was watching there was quite a few YouTube videos on bicycles and lots of ride-alongs. Some of them I get quite irritated about because people are just want to ride really fast on a bicycle in, I don't know, some kind of city like New York, and just my opinion being but sometimes they ask why are the Dutch not wearing a helmet, and etc. etc. Again, I want to point out that you see people with helmets, but the main way to create safety in the Netherlands is by designing it in. And I think that's part of the story we can talk about a little bit today. But it is not true that everybody refuses to wear a helmet. As you can see today, you see lots of older people, and of course, again, notice the race people all have. I figured he was a race people. See, a race people was just an old dude. I think he was a racer. But they wear helmets. And in fact, I don't do it now, but if, let's say, I feel less comfortable in the future, then I will definitely put a helmet on. I think that makes sense. But you have to see everything in comparison, right? You notice how little cars and how well behaved others are. The speeds are kept low. Unless you're doing what he is doing, then you're going fast and then you put a helmet on. Also the sitting upright, right? So there's not much research in this area, by the way. But if you look at the available research which we know about, we know that designing for safety. Oh, this is quite nice. Horsey. Like I said, we see some nice things today. But we kind of know that there are different ways to reach the same level of safety. And what I mean with that is we can make the argument that if you go outside just walking or even in your house, you would probably be safer if you wear a helmet or you wear arm pads in case your kids fall or something. So it's all relative. So it's not that we are very stubborn. I think we just decided as a country to do it in a different way. And one way is to design for safety, so safety in design, and that's why we are much more eager to have special bicycle paths, reduce the speed, train people, blame cars legally if possible, and just the whole attitude is different. And one thing which I think people underestimate is that if you're sitting upright, and you can see most people are sitting upright, that means that cars can see you better, you can see better, and the fact is that probably sitting upright and being able to have eye contact with other people and see cars and cars seeing you, it's much more effect on safety than, for example, helmets at this speed. Again, I'm not trying to find an excuse, I'm just trying to make the point that you have to take all these things together. And then you end up with something which is either safe enough or is not safe enough, if that makes sense. And I know there's lots of different views about, no, if you wear helmets then drivers are going to be less careful. You can see they keep quite a lot of distance now from people bicycling. Actually, I think she has a helmet on. Oh, there's also a bicycle path. Oh, I'm going to follow it also. No, I'm going the other way. So the first place we are going is to the castle. And it turns out that it's a private ground, so I can't get on. And also, even on Google Maps, it was kind of a weird castle because it's more like... there's some structure left and then there's sort of a house built on top of it or an old part of the castle. But I will stop there anyway, and that was the first aiming point of where we are going. And please leave in the comments if you think at any point that you feel that the way that I'm bicycling or the way what you're seeing is putting me in danger. Keep in mind, especially because the lens the camera is now a little bit too high. Aim too high and it's a little bit too low. It looks like we are going faster than we actually are. And the cars always on these cameras look closer than they are in reality because of the wide angle of the lens. So this kind of ends at a parking place, and then there's a really small bicycle path, which is actually quite nice, although it leads us to kind of a boring castle thingy. But just in case you wouldn't believe it, they put a sign there saying bicycle path. So that's one of the nice things about making these videos. I doubt I've been on this path before in my life. Why would I? It's probably only if you're living in a neighborhood and you know that this is a good way to get from A to B, that you would use this. But my route planner said this is the way to go. So you see a lot of, in these outer areas, a lot of sport facilities. Although this is kind of an official bike walking path because you do see that they put in trash cans and places to sit. So we already see some churches in our view. And we're getting closer to the castle. That is not really a castle. So even if today is a little bit anticlimactic, I hope you are enjoying this ride. So we already kind of in Harmelen now. We kind of sidestepped it because we want to go to the aforementioned castle. I guess we are in Harmelen-Noord because that's what my software that I wrote is telling us. So I think in a previous video I talked about that the software I make is talking to Google to get all this information about locations and where we are. I actually rewrote it to really see the castle, right? On our left, although it's very hard to see. Even the Google Maps refuse to show it. There's no detail at all. But I will get off and show around a little bit. But like I said, it was a little bit of a disappointment. I guess you can't have win them all. I will get off because it's actually a nice neighborhood, but it had a sign, no trespassing. But there you can see, I would almost call it the structure, and even this road is called the Kasteellaan, so the Castle Road. So I guess officially it was a castle, but taking the camera off takes always a second. And there it is. I walk in a little bit, even though it said no trespassing. But you can see there's kind of a structure and then there's sort of a home thingy on top of it, and that's about it. So maybe from the other side you can see more, but I didn't see a way to get there. So I hope you enjoyed this. This was the main point of this this bicycle trip. But we will continue anyway. But I have to admit I was not that impressed myself. Although we are getting a little bit of blue in the sky already, so that's better. For some reason I figured let's show you around a little bit more. So you can see that my phone is actually not that high on my steering wheel, but somehow that pops into the picture. This tells me a bit that the camera is indeed lower than before. So we are now going into different areas of Harmelen. Of course, I'm not taking the, let's say, the easiest route. I use the route planner to sort of zigzag my way a little bit through Harmelen to show you different parts. So there's older parts and newer parts. That's also a tip if you're in the Netherlands and where you want a bicycle. It's actually kind of a nice wooden home, as you can see. It looks quite nice. So yeah, if you come here to bicycle, yes, there are really different types of bicycle paths, and keep that in mind. So if you're using Google or even one of the more official ways to find your bicycle route, keep in mind that if you, for example, take the one that we took into Harmelen, the big one, then it might be nice, so that one is quite nice, but some of them, or quite a few of them, are just next to the highway, because that's, for commuting, the easiest way to get there. So don't be careful that you, and I would suggest using Komoot or Google for that, to really look where something is. So go onto the map, like I did today, go onto the map and just rearrange the lines. Most of the time you can drag them into the area that you think are looking nice, because there's nice greenery or some water or some point that you want to see. Otherwise you might be on totally nice bicycle paths, but you might not see things like this small water area here. I was not allowed to go on there because it's an official nature reserve area. But I did not know that up front. I was figuring maybe I can go into this area. But it's kind of a nice piece of land. I guess Google Maps decided we are in the middle of nowhere, so there's not much satellite information for this part in the helicopter view. So far we've been quite lucky with the helicopter view in the last few rides. So lots of delivery trucks bringing packages to everybody today. So this is a good example of what we talked about a few days ago, that sometimes you don't know where you need to go, and then it's actually quite nice that all the bicycle paths are red, and you can go to sort of scan your view and go, okay, I need to go there because there I see the bicycle path. And of course I've been here before, but I was disoriented for a few seconds, and I said, okay, there, I need to go there. But as you might know, I kind of like random driving, so just going in a direction and riding for an hour. And it's always quite amazing that there's always a bicycle path somewhere. I say this knowing that in a few hundred meters we're going to an area where there's no bicycle path, no official one at least. And even these two cars are basically parking in a location they're not supposed to do that. The fact that you don't see that much is already a hint that most people behave. So in this case the picture is getting a little bit dark again, but we are now looking into the sun. Like I said, we are leaving a little bit late today. My plan was to leave at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but before I got going it was 4 o'clock. And then of course, especially this time of year, the sun is already quite low. So we are now in another part of Harmelen again. Putkop. Okay. I kind of like that I put in the subtitles the location based on official government information instead of Google in this case. And so all these names are the official names of the areas, and I don't know many of them. So we're getting close to the location where the train disaster was. So in 1962, two trains, one leaving Utrecht and one I think going to Rotterdam, hit each other head on. It was very misty in 1962, and they hit each other at about, one was going 110 and the other one about 100, so about, let's say 200 kilometers an hour towards each other. So about, I don't know, 120, 130 miles an hour. And they hit each other, and 93 people died, and about 50 or 60 got wounded. And it was before I was born, but I know the story because I have some friends in Harmelen, and even my parents, it was talked about. And it's still the biggest train disaster in the Netherlands. And why do I think it happened here? And we'll quickly stop at a memorial site. And when that is done, I will talk a little bit about why I think it has some comparison with design, safety and design. So that you want to design safety into the systems and not depend on people, because people make mistakes. That's why we are people. So here you see where it happened. And there you see the memorial. And even now, 60 years later, it happened in January, so probably a month ago there will be more flowers. But here you see all the names and a small statue. But somebody did put some flowers there. So 93 people got killed. They placed, I think they replaced an old one, but this new one they put here about 10 or 12 years ago. 2012, so 12 years ago already. This memorial. I noticed there were mostly males, so the male M and the female. So most of them were males. I guess back then it was mostly, it happened at 9:15 in the morning. I guess it was mostly men going to work. The sign says 93 dead, 92 wounded. Sorry, 93 dead and 53 wounded. Hopefully I said it correctly. So I will put in the description a documentary which is in Dutch. Of course you can put subtitles on about this accident that happened. A day later you can see that the train tracks are now higher and there's now a flyover construction so that the trains don't have to pass each other anymore. One is basically going over the other one. We talked about this before, that Utrecht is the main hub for the Dutch trains. It's in the middle of the country, so most trains go to Utrecht. So it was not weird that if an accident happens, it happens here. So if you are talking about safety by design, is that again, this was in 1962, so about 20 years after the war. And trains were main way to get places. The cars was coming up, maybe a little bit too fast, as you probably know. Later day in the 70s, end of the 60s, 70s, they started reducing the car and trying to rebalance that. But by now you probably have heard that story many times. But the I forgot what I was supposed to say, talk about. So the train system was not that secure, and what I mean with that is that the operators of the train, they had different signs, of course, lights, and it was very misty. And there was an orange light, and if there's an orange light, he's supposed to slow down from, I think, 120 kilometers to about 30 or 40 kilometers. They think that he didn't see it. He did see the red light, which was the next one, about a kilometer later, and he started braking quite aggressively, but it was already too late. And and that's why they collided. And simply that one person could just, in very misty weather conditions, in a split second missed an orange or yellow light, that can't be enough to create such a disaster. So comparable with the road designs, you have to design in that people can make mistakes. Before I continue, this is kind of nice. I was already wondering why this was in the shape of a heart, but you can see they also put like a small steps there. So I'm pretty sure summertime it will be very flowery sort of heart, and people can sort of climb up there for the selfie pictures. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so so they redesigned the system, which I'm sure it's probably, I hope, in every country now this way, that if the train operator misses a yellow sign, then the train, if once it sees it happening, will pull on the brakes itself. So there's a second layer of security. In Dutch is called the ATB. So the automatische treinbeïnvloeding, which I always quite funny. Sometimes when you're on the train, you will hear a comment over the so something happens and you notice that the train is slowing down, and you might hear the comment ATB ATB in Dutch, of course, and that stands for automatic train beïnvloeding. So that's how would you translate that? Automatic train slowing down, and changing. I'm not sure how to translate it, because it's kind of a funny way to train in Dutch. Automatische treinbeïnvloeding. So actually, I was supposed to go on a really small path that I planned, and I missed it. But I also wanted to go to the village of Harmelen, so I decided to loop around here and rehunt, because I figured I was going the wrong way, and then I was being followed by a speed bike, I think, over here, and he's passing me. I had the same idea. There he is. So that's why we're going back and forth, because I think I'm going to the left here, because then I go to the small path. It actually was quite a few people on racing bikes today. Maybe also the reason why some people are out driving on the, which normally they would probably go on Sunday, or maybe they will still go on Sunday, but this was, the weather prediction told us that this would be the best day to go outside, because no rain was expected. So I'm trying to figure out, oh, she's already running there. Sorry, I see somebody running. I guess she was really in a hurry, because if I go here, she's running over the little bridge. I figured she was running just to do me a favor, but she was already running when I came up here. So clearly she was in a hurry. There she is. She was running before, and I didn't notice. I figured she was sort of moving quickly for me over here, but clearly she was not, because she was already running before. I have to get my bike up. So I'm not sure if this was an official sort of bicycle path, but it was actually kind of a nice path, and I wanted to follow it all the way, because I think it looked quite nice with the homes next to the water. But it's called the Jaagpad, so the hunter's path, but we don't follow it all the way, because I also want to show you a part of the inner village, but we follow it a little bit. Not sure if she's supposed to bike here, but I'm glad I did, because I do think it gives some nice pictures. If you're ever visiting the Netherlands, one nice place is called Giethoorn, and that's a village that doesn't have any normal roads. There's only waterways, sort of like this, but everywhere. So here I decided to not continue, because I also want to show you a little bit of the village, and because I'm nice and get off the bike again. Yes, we don't like these things. I know I will get comments that we don't like these. Oh. I'm also listening a little bit while doing this voiceover, so hopefully that doesn't affect the recording. But again, we're getting now closer into Harmelen, the older part. We are aiming for the church. I never know how people react. I would almost say this is a boring ride, because we're basically doing nothing, going nowhere. The castle was kind of a disappointment. But you never know. Sometimes in the comments people say, oh, it was a really nice ride. It was fun to ride, that I have to say. So I decided over the summer that I will go to different places in the Netherlands and rent a bike and then show you around. So we can't visit a small village without going to the main church. So this is one of the main churches in the village. And then slowly, I think what I did in the route planner is I drew the line in some different streets just to show you a few streets before we head out again. Kind of interesting to have a pumping station for gas in the middle of the village. That's something that you normally don't see in Dutch towns or villages, that you have your gas station is always near the edge of the village or the city and never in the middle of it, almost never. Very few. I'm also wondering a little bit about Google Earth, so maybe it's confused today. I hope not. Hopefully when we get back to Utrecht it becomes more clear again. Otherwise it's not giving us much value today compared to most days. But the good news is that we are looking at a lovely picture of the sun going down and giving us some God rays. Yeah, it is. I think there's something wrong with the helicopter view, but I'm not going to re-record this one. So if this is indeed something that is going wrong, then so be it. Or Harmelen is just not in the map. Because I really don't want to do it again. I guess I could record it separately. So if it's really broken, I might replace it and put a new one in tomorrow. So you can see kind of a mixture of all the new buildings. So I'm using Google Earth Pro for the helicopter view. It is a nice application, but it's also crash happy at times. Harmelen-Zuid, southern part of Harmelen. Well, the map is getting better further along, so I'm guessing that Google has never took pictures of this area, which is amazing. school zone. Yes, there are multiple schools in this area and a church, clearly. Of course, ask questions in the comments if you have them, but sometimes I just yell stuff because I was thinking about it myself. I am comparing these videos to some other videos that I see online, and I'm quite happy with the video quality. One of the reasons, which is also maybe why sometimes things go wrong or it crashes, is that the video quality that I'm trying to get is I'm recording everything in 4K 60p at the highest qualities that I can get, because I think the 24 or 25 frames per second where you get this movie-like juddering called motion blur, especially you can see on the sides or the trees and the cars. I don't like it, but that's one reason I don't do it. So this looks more video-like in a way. But there's another reason why I'm doing it. We are now, of course, seeing all these headsets like the Apple Vision Pro and the Quest 3 from Facebook. And if you're using these lower frame rates, that does not look as nice in one of these headsets. So basically already for the future and also for big screens, I don't want to brag, but I have a 130 inch projection screen, a movie screen in my home. So on a big screen or on such a headset, like the Apple Vision Pro, which of course might be very common in a few years, I want to be able to also watch these videos, and that's the reason why I'm using this high frame rate, so the 60p and also the quality, the 4K, because yeah, that will just look better, or at least doesn't give you this weird shuddering feeling, which is kind of normal for movies, but with this contrast that we are using, so the difference between light and dark parts of the picture, and the speed we are going, this will be better for these applications, like the headset. So that's why I'm putting in more time to get the videos so smooth. So if you see the trees, for example, on the side, compared to other videos of this type, I would say that this is on the better than average quality. And that's the reason I'm doing that, because I want to be able to use them in headsets in the future. Now in the Netherlands we can't buy the Apple Vision Pro yet, but the moment that they are available I will get one. Partly because it's my work, the kind of work I do, it kind of makes sense. I didn't talk about it in this trip, but my work is kind of semi-related to that. And I think it would just be a pity if I record all these videos and they are not really usable for that in the future. It does mean that these files are really big, and sometimes things crash and stuff like that. To give you an example, this probably most likely this file that I'm going to upload to YouTube when I'm totally done with it will be, I would guess, about 80 gigabytes. So just the file that I need to upload to YouTube is 80 gigabytes big. And that's after that I've encoded it into a lower quality. And of course I will keep the higher quality for the future if I want to redo it in even better quality. Of course, then this Action Cam 4, in this case, we are talking about a $400 camera. I have more expensive cameras, way more expensive cameras. We can only expect so much from a $400 Action Cam. I'm personally quite impressed with the picture quality. but it has its limitations, of course. So I think that answers our question if Google Earth crashed or it was just not having the information of that part of the Netherlands, because we see we're slowly moving from no picture to bad picture to 3D pictures again. So interesting. So we are now again riding next to the Vecht, and in the helicopter view you see the massive greenhouse over there. They were actually, as a kid, was inside of these quite often, because a friend of mine, his family owns these. They're extremely big. They're about a kilometer long, and we used to have parties in there. They're actually using bicycles inside these greenhouses because they are so big. I think most of them in this area is now doing things like paprikas and tomatoes. But we are now next to the Vecht again, but now on the other side. Now this is a side where normally you would not use a bicycle, at least because there's such a nice bicycle path on the other side, which you can see in the helicopter view where the other red line is. So that's how we came in. Normally you would go to the other side, and the cars would do the reverse. They would normally take this side. But yeah, I figured I want to show you anyway. So at some point I will go to the other side because I wanted to get back to the road that I always try to get back to when we are ending our bicycle rides. But for now I will stay on this side of the road. So if you have a topic you want me to talk about next time, tell me, because in this case it was a little bit random. I think that's also good why in the future you can either turn the voice over off, or now of course you can always turn the audio completely off, but you can't hear the background sound then. So it will be great if you can do upload 2 audio tracks. So again, one with my voice and one just with bicycle sound. Hopefully I was quiet at some point in the video so that you can hear that the audio is indeed already a lot better. I'm still not totally happy with it, but at least it's markedly better than it was in some of the older videos. Interesting, one of the few traffic lights, but clearly it was needed because this car I was already wondering will he stop for me. I guess he did, but definitely a traffic light that they put there because it had to be there. I'm not sure why this T junction is designed in such a way. But I find it interesting here, purely from a safety point of view, that this is, again, I'm not saying you're supposed to drive on the other side with your bicycle, but most people will do that because it's such a nice bicycle path. But you do see that they decided to put a walking path next to it, with basically a barrier. Well, I wouldn't really call it a barrier, but some protection in between, at least visually. I was wondering why, and I think the reason why they did it is that there will be probably in the summertime lots of people fishing here, maybe kids sort of playing near the water or in the water, kids with their parents who are fishing, stuff like that. And I think the idea is that the picture just went dark. I have to look into that. I'm guessing that the bushes in between are to make sure that kids don't run into the street, would be my guess. So now I go to the other side because I know I want to get back to You can't go there, that's the bus lane. So we go back to the high-speed bicycle path. So that they can find a nice way to end up at our official ending point of this video. It's kind of interesting that this is a boring bicycle path, but it's very nice to drive on. So. I also am not a big fan of driving back on the same road to where we drove in, but that's where I'm trying to figure out where I'm going next. But you can see in the helicopter view kind of the open spots which might be filled up by future building projects. Or in this case we see in the helicopter view that there's a recreational area, so I see soccer fields, well, mostly soccer fields. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 soccer fields. Before you see the next group of homes in different styles. So these are a little bit older homes, still maybe 15, 20, 25 years old. These different areas, and you notice there are more building groups in the same style, while in the newer areas where we drove last week, like Rijnvliet, and you see even in these areas which are built in one go, that they mixed up way more. So the color of the stones, the type of roofs, they are sort of more randomized. Although on the water side where we are now driving, because it's between old and new and combinations, there's more variations. But now the GPS is still confused. I tried to fix it. I figured it was my phone, so I reset my phone, but you can see that the GPS already says that I'm on the other side, which I'm clearly not. Not sure why it's doing that. It's probably a setting somewhere that it tries to follow the roads. I think I need to turn that off. Not sure how it got turned on. Can you see here the shark teeth? In this case, when we get further along near the city, that I'm not sure why that is, but in the first few I had to yield, but on the last maybe 8 or 9 I can just continue. Of course I slow down a little bit to make sure that they indeed brake, but in concept they should brake. So in this case I'm holding in because of the car. I talked about it before, I'm quite a defensive driver. So even if on these intersections I have the right of way, I will always be careful and slow down, because I am not of the opinion that I will continue because I am allowed to continue and I don't have to yield, but then a car hits me and I go, yeah, but I was right. That doesn't make any sense to me. So in this case, for example, if he would have moved forward, I would definitely have stopped, although it is my right of way. So here you can see clearly a few blocks of old homes which have been there before the rest got built next to it. So getting closer where I want to get off and sort of go to another direction. I'm pondering when I will go to the left. Although I like this road, I don't think it's as interesting to go back the same route that we came. But you can see a little bit more work on the video, and a tiny bit of sun makes everything look more happy and colorful. So the good news that I don't have to redo the helicopter view, because clearly it was they didn't have any photo information of that area, which is again shocking to me, because over here in the main area of Utrecht you can see that the pictures are available, and we can even have the 3D views. So I should have taken this one, in my opinion, but I didn't. So I'll take this one. And then I get confused, because I think this is a bike path that I can take to the other side, but I can't. I'm kind of stuck into this area. I've been stuck here before. I brake here to figure out if there's a better way. I don't know. No. Oh well. Let's zigzag my way out of this one. But here again see an example, especially in the helicopter view, that all these homes which are built in a sort of a cluster, they all look the same. It still happens that they build them this way, but they tend to do more variation these days. And again, the speed bumps that bicycles can kind of avoid, but cars can't. Kind of stuck on this side of the water, but now we got out. So people who watch more of my videos know that we want to get to that tower, which we can't see because the building is in front of it, but in the helicopter view you can see it. I'll see it in a second, because that's kind of where the road is to our ending point. We don't have to always end at the same point, but if possible I do that. A stop sign. We don't have many stop signs. Somebody remarked that we have hardly any, but I see them more and more. Probably because I'm driving in these little off-roads. Whoa, this became really dark. We'll make this a little bit lighter. But the camera is looking directly into the sun. I tried many camera settings, but I think this is the best compromise. Unless you want to spend a lot of time, and I don't want to do that. I think the quality is already good enough. So I was talking about this building. I kind of always want to end, if possible, at least even if I'm starting in my own neighborhood, then I want to start and stop in this area. So the bus that we have seen along our route is also going over these bus lanes. So I hope you enjoyed this video again. Or if you say, well, I always turn the audio off because I don't want to listen to you, that's also fine. I still hope that you enjoyed the video. In fact, let me know if you prefer the version without me talking over it. Now, I will not do that, but I will start doing that the moment that YouTube enables us to have multiple audio versions. I wanna pass. Then the last bicycle today that we are passing is a guy, hands in the pockets because cold, no hands on the steering wheel, headphones on. Probably if I would start yelling at him, he would have no idea. But that's how comfortable Dutch people, or some Dutch people, are on their bicycle. I guess I should be happy that he was not holding his phone. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Slowly it's getting spring, and this already looks a little bit more sunny and like it was last week. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.